Okay. Hello. Uh, 1 second. Yeah, everything's recording. 7:41 p.m. Thursday, September 27th, 2012. So it's been 3 days. I just checked. When the last time I did like a video. So where am I at in my campaign right now? Uh, I opened up my campaign depository today. Then I opened up my additional campaign depository on PayPal because I'm going to be using two campaign depositories. So that was done today, and I put some money into it as a loan. I initially thought that I would just whatever money I could garner, whatever money I could gather, I would just give it in to the campaign. But then the thought was didn't occur to me naturally. In the process of me calling the compliance agency, which I call them pretty often because there's still a lot of questions I not necessarily I have, but I'm going to be running into a lot of little bumps in the road, and I have a government agency that's there to assist me, so I do everything correctly because this is it's quite serious, financially speaking. If I go out and raise money from other people and then I spend that money on alcohol and cigarettes, that's a no-no. Uh, so it's getting a little bit more serious. Not in the sense that, well, internally as well too, I'm kind of becoming, not necessarily. Uh, I just don't like to deal with these kinds of finances. Okay, so that's done. So I have to just verify my PayPal account, and then I will be able to start sending some money to Oliver for the work he's doing to me. I got a I had two cavities that were taken care of today. One of the cavities was in my wisdom tooth, and it was a tricky thing, but my dentist did a good job. Uh, I'm going to try to interview my dentist so I can have another interesting video for whoever to see. He's an interesting man. He's a Russian dentist, so he studied in medicine in Russia, dental medicine, and then he went in the United States. He also studied it. I think he's a good doctor. We were talking about some things, but vaguely. Uh, I would have so I'll try to get that done. That'll be my on a personal side outside of this political sphere. Yesterday I met an ex-principal, an older gentleman. He's and he wasn't necessarily retired. What I suspect, he had a lot to share, and I want to interview him as well. I got his number. He's very angry at the system that I'm going to be going in with uh, this attitude to change. And at the same time, I met another man who he's working in, I don't know, he's working in public administration, I believe, and he's studying it at the same time. But our conversation was very weird. Not necessarily weird, but there was a lot of he kept insinuating that I need to tread the water carefully. There's these forces at work, not necessarily forces, but the powers that be are not so resilient to change, and I found it all very interesting. I couldn't just figure. I couldn't. I was trying my best to try to figure out what is he talking about, though. Like what part of the people? I mean, is it like the Italian mafia? Is it some sort of another mafia family? Is it cartels? Is it gangs? Is it like Muslim Brotherhood, or is it mm, this local culture, which is quite strange, because New Jersey originally was a Dutch colony, and then it was bought and it was settled, and in the mid 50s, I believe, around the mid 50 era, you had a lot of Italians that came in, and with the Italians, they brought their Italian family, and that resulted in the things that happened from that point on to up to this point on, and which from time to time still continues in tomorrow. All that nonsense. Because he kept referencing, well, he didn't keep referencing, but you know, I mean, we talked about, man does not change. Man, people are who they are. But see, the thing about with that and government is, government can change because government is written down on a piece of paper. Especially the state government. It's not overly complicated to change the state constitution. It's been changed before. Different states have changed their constitution depending on the needs and the wants and I guess this is the society, because there's a lot of things that I like to change within the state constitution. Not necessarily the U.S. Constitution. There's two different constitutions we have here. And the Supreme Constitution, the law of the land, is the U.S. Constitution. And he was a person that grew up here, so he understands, well, he doesn't understand, but he's gotten accustomed to this idea that, if you're in your local town, let's say you're drunk and you're driving, police officer stops you over, is going to make you park the car and walk home, as opposed to what the law says. Drunk driving, you lose your license. In New York, you lose your car, and you're going to spend a couple of days in jail. It's serious. But police officers have discretion, and that's one thing. But there are cases of, when a mayor or somebody in government does special favors to people. I mean, he gave me some pretty reasonable situations, and that's normal. But, but the mayor would not be able to do it to every single person, and that's the flaw. That's the flaw in the local government. And it undermines the system because everybody needs to have the same equal understanding, and for the most part most people do. But here we have, if you kind of know how the local government works, you don't necessarily need to worry about permits, about building inspections, about fire code. It's okay. It's okay. This is how we do it. No. No one is above the law. And this is the fundamental flaw here that's occurring every single day, every single moment. No one is above the law. It's quite simple. He did have valid points, though. But it's not right. It's just, he talked about, what do I do once I get into that position? I don't know how to answer that question. Think about it. Maintain power. No, well, why would I want to maintain power? I want somebody else to replace me. That's how the whole system is designed to work. Somebody better comes along and replaces me. Somebody smarter, more energetic, with better ideas, comes along, replaces me. It's just, it doesn't happen here. You have the same person who's in charge all their life. That's not how this government is designed to work. That's why it's broken. And if we can't address that, then there's no possible way to have a conversation about marijuana, about taxes, about the environment. See, the idea is, in the process of what, as I continue, I were to do something nice to somebody out of my way, a friendly gesture, an act of compassion, I would need to be able to be prepared to do it to everybody. So there's certain things I will be able to do, and there's certain things I won't be able to do, and that's more or less integrity. Um, he brought up this very interesting point where I don't know what he meant by it, and it left me with concerns. I was very concerned about about well, I don't know. I said that he used to work in construction, and there was a woman who would always come out with a bloody nose, and we all knew it. He said, "What do you do?" I don't know. What do you mean? Depends. What do you mean? It depends. Why is she coming out of the home with a bloody nose, or is she coming out of the construction area with a bloody nose? So, did somebody hit her? Did her husband hit her? Did the employer hit her? Did her co-worker hit her? Always hits her? And if it's the husband, it's domestic violence. If it's an employer or a co-worker, that's something else altogether. Maybe it's because um, where they're working, they're inhaling some toxins and whatever. They just have to do it, so they do it. Is that why? I mean, I'm just trying to understand why. Is it because she's a prostitute and she has a pimp that hits her? You have to give the more detail to it. Oh, I mean, he's involved with government, but in a different county altogether. Um, he also told me that there's going to be certain moments where I will need to kind of ignore what happens. I don't know. That's the whole point of me going into this, is so I don't ignore everything that happens. Why would you want to go into this if you're not prepared, or you want to solve these little problems that go along the way with, of course, your main goal, which is my education in criminal justice. Of course, I've given it some thought. I'm going to be brushing up against different elements, different types of people that are going to have different types of problems. Problems are to be solved. We need problem solvers in government. Business needs problem solvers. We need, just in general, we need people who are going to be capable of solving problems. And that's what we lack in today's society, and as a result of a broken educational system. It doesn't teach you to, not necessarily teach you, but it teaches you one thing, but then in reality it's a whole different thing. And then you say to yourself, why? Well, it's just the way it is. No, it's not the way it is. Somebody fucked up. Somebody fucked up, and now it's my problem. It's like a lot of those things I'm talking about. I'm solving yesterday's problems because the people that were older than me, or ahead of my, or before me, I mean, um, these problems should have been solved in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. And people, for whatever reason, they just failed. He gave me another. I wanted to meet him today again, to bump into him. Gave me another case. On a state level, there's extraordinary amounts of corruption that I know of. Not I know of, I suspect. And he gave me this case that, there's a reason why the last 3 of the 5 governors we had broken bones within a year. I never heard of it, but I just let's just assume that it was the case, that they got bent. Somebody approached them and they wanted them to do something, and they didn't want to at first, so they hurt them, and then they're like, okay, I'll do it. And the problem, the way to have solved the problem was the first governor would have said no and dealt with it. All right, maybe would have gotten killed. So the governor after that doesn't have to deal with the problem. I mean, the whole idea is, I mean, the whole idea, I mean, just the centerpiece of, uh, not necessarily the centerpiece of government, but government has a very vital role in today's society in ensuring that the youth, tomorrow's youth, tomorrow's members entering society, don't have to deal with the problems of today. They should be solved today. But we have yesterday's problems, and we have today's problems. At the same time, in my mind, I also need to figure out a system for the government to be able to solve tomorrow's problems. And that's essentially where I'm at right now. And my, I guess my philosophical theory of the state of government as a whole. And in doing so, fixing America's government, all governments are elevated around the world. He also challenged me with this idea that I need to be able to be prepared, not prepared, but without a doubt in my mind, consider this place as home. I guess the state of New Jersey. And I've given it some thought. And I don't know if I can consider the state of New Jersey my home. I'd prefer to consider the planet as a whole my home. The entire planet. Why not? There's only one planet that we're capable of living on. We'll see how that goes. That'll be part of my political message. Anyways, I don't want to go into detail too much with that. Just a bit tired, though. I didn't expect to spend so much of my time yesterday chatting with that guy. I spent like 5 hours talking to him. I had some interesting ideas as well. And he kind of gave more, I guess he gave my previous idea more strength, because what I'm doing now is as a quick side project. I can't get too involved with it. It's going to be extraordinarily quick. I did plan to go to the board meeting of Bergen County Social Services on October 2nd, Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. And I was going to read them something that I had written that I might share. I don't think I've shared it yet. And then one of the problems I had with that particular facility is basically the most needy and the most unfortunate members of our society go to that place for whatever reason. They do some things there that supposedly help them. I don't believe that any help occurs there. That's just my belief, is my impression of the place. It seemed like it was a hopeless place, that it was just a factory to hand out federal and state tax dollars and to keep the system going without any real way to solve any of those people's problems, just to keep the system going. That's embarrassing. And because they've been doing that for many years. It's not a new agency. They've been around for 31 years. And that's what they've done. That's my belief. That's my impression. And that could change. I might be too quick to judge, but at the same time, if I get too involved, I start listening to them. Of course, they're going to be nonsense. Oh, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. Long story short, their lobby is a mess. There's absolutely no motivational, inspirational, striking messages of any kind that are designed, that would be, I guess, scientifically designed to trigger a response within the person, to challenge their mind, their heart, and their soul, to strike them, and maybe to have some sort of an internal change that's going to say that's going to result in them saying, you know what, I'm going to do better with my life today. And they don't have any of that. So I contacted Oliver to see if he could design just some basic. The size would be, I think, 8 by 11 inches. Just a little design, and I plan to have some words, my own words, and then words of previous um, people in our history that have said that have left strong messages behind, that I find to be strong. Let's say that the speech of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So what some of the presidents have said. I'm curious what Gandhi has said. I mean, I know he said a lot, but if he left any quotes. Saturday, I'm gonna do some chainsawing. Room, room, room. Uh, by the way, I've resolved some issues that I've had with my family, more or less, uh, with my immediate family. I might have some issues with some of my auxiliary members of family. Um, and for the time being, it's more important that my immediate family is, I guess, on board with my idea, or not my idea, but I have their support, so I'm happy. And we've come to an understanding, not necessarily understanding, but a mutual agreement. And that mutual agreement is I will be giving part of my weekly hours to them, so they can continue doing what they want to do, because they need me. It would have worked out. I mean, I'm sure it would have worked out either way. Because it's not. It's about being dedicated to something. And I think it's very important to have in life. And to come to that point, I think it's better to come to that point sooner than later in life, because then it gives you more time to work at it. I wish I've come to this understanding when I was younger, but then I wouldn't know as much as I know now, would I? Or maybe there's just a plan that's just laid out for everybody. Who knows? But part of living is making mistakes. It's a reminder you're still alive, and it's part of your nature. It's a human. We're not perfect, but we're good enough. But I've been thinking about some words today that not strike me, but they incite this not violence, but carnage in my heart. And that's the words. Like I'm finding myself ignited. I could probably write down something. Well, I'll write it at a different time. Okay, I'm gonna end it here. Um, I've been trying to do a movie night every other Thursday. I mean, every other day. Every other day. Um, for fun, and to kind of bring some of my friends together to have a stronger relationship with everybody. At the same time, I get some kind of practice with organizing people. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of tired. Okay, tomorrow I'll figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow. Oh, my bag that I carry around has been filling up with papers little by little. Um, I'll see what I can do, but I want to do more with my YouTube channel. I want to do more videos, but I just find myself too involved with what I'm doing now. So I'm gonna try to do that dentist interview. I'll call him. I'm gonna see him tomorrow, and maybe a little short video on Saturday using a chainsaw. That might be fun. Like a short tutorial. I might dress up and have a little accent. Maybe I'll act a little bit. The principal. Yeah, I can do these interviews here. It'll be really enjoyable. Okay, I'm gonna go. It's like 26 minutes, and I have to meet up with my friend. Adios. Work hard in life. Don't give up.